Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Nate Wade, the boys basketball coach at St. John's. How's it going?
Wonderful. How you doing tonight, Casey?
Doing well. So first off, kind of talk about how the season's kind of going. I know Friday did not work out as well as you wanted, but overall, how do you think the year's kind of going?
So far, I mean, we're off to our best start since 2016. So that's a big one for us. We since taking over the program, really trying to get me and my coaching staff trying to get everything going in terms of youth basketball all the way up. It's a process, especially in a place where basketball hasn't consistently been looked at as the favorite or something that people place a lot of importance on. So building it kind of from the ground up, and yeah, 5-2 start this year. It's been a success on the court that's been coming for the last 2 years. We last year we struggled in terms of our record, but the style of ball that we played and everything was, you could tell that other coaches around the conference were starting to respect us. There was a lot of close games. I mean, I can't remember exactly, but the amount of games that we lost by 5 or less points was crazy for a 2-19 team. It was insane. And especially if you take into consideration we're within 3 points with a minute or less to go, it's nuts. I mean, we were just right there in almost even our district game against Grand Ledge, we lost by 1 point by 2 free throws with a second and a half left. I mean, it's crazy. so, so it's good. It's good. It's good that they're seeing wins and that they're feeling a little bit more validated this year than they have over the last couple of years.
Yeah. How many years have you been at St. John's?
This will be my third season as varsity coach.
Okay. So kind of talk about just some of the players that are back, some of the players that really are kind of, your returners and players to watch kind of for the rest of the year.
Oh man, this is dangerous. You're gonna get me talking for too long, Casey. uh, no, so I'm one of those coaches, man. I love my guys, that's for sure. Especially when I get a group of dudes who want to come in and work all the time, and that's these kids. I mean, from the junior class and the senior class, man, you can't get them out of the gym, which I love. So, we had a 3-year start. My first year as a program, I brought up the best sophomore. His name's Carson Peters. He's a heck of a player. He can shoot, dribble, pass, plays good defense, pretty good communicator. So he's a 3-year starter. He's been killing it this year. He scored 26 the other night, and I don't know what his averages are. I'm not the best stat guy off the top of my head. Me and numbers, my team, I'll tell you. When it comes to addition and subtraction, I'm insane. I can't do it in my head. I'm an English guy, so I got to have my assistant coaches count. But he's doing he's doing really well this year. This has been his best year all around so far for sure. I'm pretty sure he leads us in points, assists, and rebounds. So he's doing really well. We brought back another starter, Joe Leonard. He started as a junior almost every game, and now he's another starting senior. Jack Ballard, another senior. He's like a 5'11". He's about, I'd say 6 foot. He's about 6 foot, quote unquote, big man for our team. Really strong kid, really eating boards and playing good defense. I mean, gosh, Landon McCullough was a junior. He came off the bench last year. He's our 6th man right now. And the last couple of games, he scored 10, 12, 10 points. We started another junior who's a new starter this year. His name's Anthony Dupuy. He's an all-league soccer kid. And one of our other starters is named Logan Schroeder, all-league soccer kid. Both of them are just long, lanky. I mean, Tony's probably 5'8" and can run like a deer. And Schroeder's 5'10" and can run like a deer, and they're long. They play really hard defense. Schroeder can shoot the lights out, and Tony can't shoot for a lick, but he'll get to the hoop no matter what. I mean, so all that together, throw in, good Lord, we got a newcomer, Chuck Miller. He kind of plays our backup big. He comes in, and Chris Stewart, he was a sophomore, played 5th quarter team last year. So he's another backup guard that we got coming in off the bench. And I mean, I'm telling you, man, I talk forever about my guys. They're great. I keep going.
We got time.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. And then, I mean, seriously, so I got to throw a plug in for my guys who don't get minutes this year. We have 15 dudes on our roster. And a lot of that is our senior class is strong, but our junior class is pretty strong too. They had a great JV season last year. I think they had 16 wins. So I think they were 16-4. They were at a very good season, and there's only a couple of them that play. And we told them straight up in the beginning, you guys are kind of going to be like a scout team. But the reason that we're going to be so successful this year is because in practice, you guys are going to kick the crap out of the guys who play all the time. And the success on nighttime games is going to be dependent on how hard you work in practice. And then next year, you're going to get to be the dudes who step into that role. When they bought into it, there's no way another team out there is getting a better look than us in practice. I mean, no way. So that's incredibly valuable for us.
When you look at like the league this year, I know that the league's kind of had a lot of changes, of course. I know a lot of people are saying Mason is the big favorite this year. I know that Williamston has seen a lot of changes. Fowlerville's seen a lot of changes. Hazlett's seen a lot of changes. You guys bring a lot of people back, Lansing Eastern, and just kind of talk about where do you think the division's kind of at this year? Because you've mostly seen everybody.
Yeah, well, I've seen them all on film. We've only had 2 league games so far. Mason's a beast. That's all there. I was talking to Lee about it before the game. Like, man, you got dudes. This is nuts. I mean, the team that Mason has this year is phenomenal. They're massive. They're fast. They're skilled. They're smart, and they're well coached. And they play good defense. Like, I mean, I can't talk enough about that squad, especially after seeing them in person. And then Eastern, I think this is probably one of the better Eastern teams I've seen so far. So we come into Hazlet this week and Fowlerville upcoming, and we'll see. I know that, good Lord, I thought Fowlerville was going to not be too great last year, honestly. But they were pretty darn good.
They still had it young too, though, bud.
They did. They did have one of the. But gosh, I thought whenever they lost the Splash Brothers that their team would look different, and then they came out at Fowlerville the second time we played them, and they filled it up from deep again. One of the young brothers went off. I had one of my kids last year. I was not coaching the first time we played Fowlerville. My wife had given birth. Actually, that night was giving birth to my third kid, my second son, and so I was watching the game in the hospital on NFHS, and I had one of my players who was like a 7th man. I think he hit 7 3-pointers. His name is Jake Liseski. He hit 7 threes in a game. Yeah. As a squad, we hit 16 and lost. It was crazy. I mean, I was watching in the hospital, and my wife was going, "How is this happening? How's this happening?" I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I guess I'm maybe to a fault. I got to respect my opponents a lot. So as much as our league might look down, it's really hard. It's really hard to talk bad because it's always been so good, and I've been taken, like we've been taken lightly by people outside of our conference. Even last year, with some of our wins, our 2 wins, I felt like we were taken lightly, and then we came out and really played. So I don't know. I have a hard time. Saying that stuff because I know the coaches in our league do a pretty darn good job of what they have. So yeah.
When you talk about, I mean, this is a program that only won 2 games last year. Going from then to now, what have you kind of seen? Because the thing is, it's like you can't get the seniors and the juniors to leave the gym.
Yeah, well, that's really it. They just want to put in the work. Hi, Mac. Apologize. My huge dog's growling at me. They just wanted to put in the work. Starting this, I mean, they were the kind of kids who season ended last year, and the next day they're going, "Hey, coach, when can we get back in?" And that's special. And you throw that with the summer amount of games that you're allowed to play and the days that you're allowed to compete in, it was like we maxed. We traveled across the state. We went over to Wyoming for a week-long league and played the Grand Rapids schools. We went up to Petoskey for the Big North Shootout and asked to play the hardest schools. We went over to Spring Arbor. We went to the east side. We went to the west side. We did as much as we could playing games, which is kind of a different approach than I've ever taken. I've always tried to get them in the gym and work on their skills. And we just thought, man, my staff and I had a long talk about it. We thought, well, as close as we are in so many games last year, we just got to figure out how to win. We got to get them used to winning close games. so we played a bunch, and it seems to work out so far. So we'll see how that happens in the long run.
Yeah. And also, where do you think your team's at right now?
In what regard?
Just where you guys are at in the season. Just give your like an evaluation of where you're at.
5-2. I'm happy with the record. But man, it's hard. I feel like coaches are going to say this everywhere you go. I find it really hard to judge our success on our records of wins and losses. If I thought that was my job, then I wouldn't have. First off, I wouldn't have wanted a job at St. John's, and second off, I wouldn't be wanting to coach high school basketball. I think my job is to try to help boys become men. I guess is that's my first and foremost priority. And for the most part, the thing that I'm most proud of this year is even whenever their backs up against the wall, they play like men. And that I can hang my hat on that, win or lose. You referred earlier to how the game didn't go our way against Mason. Man, I've not seen the red and black team go out there and play like men for a whole game and get whooped on and still walk away with their heads high. Like, yep. I mean, we played our butts off. They're just better than us right now. Like that was the attitude and that was the approach. And that's honestly what I'm most proud of, because that to me, that's what's going to create them long-term success in life. So I guess where's my team at right now? I'll let you know in 15 or 20 years.
Okay.
Whenever they're men, grown men, got families, got jobs, and they go, hey man, I learned something from you. Because then I'll go, you know what? I did my job.
All right. And also, what do you want to see out of your team in these next few weeks?
Actually, my staff and I, and then the boys, we talked about that just today to start. This is our first practice week where we have no games until Friday. So kind of a whole week to prep, recoup, that kind of stuff. The biggest thing we need to do at this point is level up. Our efficiency on offense and defense, our effort in practice, our defensive intensity, wherever we're at right now, it's good enough for 5-2, but it won't be good enough for 10-2, because everybody else is going to keep getting better, and that's the big part with us, is just making sure that our practice time and such isn't just, well, let's just keep doing what we're doing and get complacent and be happy with where we're at. It's, all right, how can we take this and take it one step further? How can we take our man-to-man defense that's been pretty good and make it to where we can consistently get 3 stops in a row? What's our next measuring stick of how we're going to keep improving that? So that's kind of the big focus for us in the next couple of weeks, with these games being a different schedule. We got cut two of our next 3 weeks are Friday only games. So with a lot of time in the gym, you got to really try to level up.
All right. Well, Nate Wade, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck the rest of the season. We'll definitely have you on again sometime.
Casey, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.